Hello, 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 and welcome to the Radiant Rebirth online retreat where we are igniting our age of empowerment, owning who we truly are, gaining clarity of direction so that we can take that soul aligned action with joy, grace, and ease. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by Geraldine Crane. Geraldine is a hypnotherapist, serene spiritual mentor, and speaker who helps clients all around the world to rise by healing toxic mother daughter relationships and rediscovering their inner wisdom, strength, safety, and love. Geraldine, it's such a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you so much for being here.
It's such a pleasure to be here.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this topic. And I think it's really important. And I think both you and I have experienced when clients try to shift and they're experiencing different aspects of trauma, sometimes we can really narrow it down to those early relationships between, mothers and daughters or mothers and fathers. And so I'm really excited about our topic today, which is you are not your mother.
Mm.
Discovering your inner divinity. You are not your mother. Rediscovering your inner divinity. Can you explain a little bit more about what you're going to be sharing today?
Well, it's sharing that understanding. There is so much pressure in our society to honor your mother no matter what.
Mm.
That because she gave birth to you, you owe her everything. So people feel this obligation to owe their mother their peace, their joy, everything. And it's too much for anyone to bear, especially if you have a mother who is extremely demanding or harmful to you in any way. So it's about really realizing you don't owe your mother your peace, which is a book I'm working on at the minute. Um, but you owe yourself joy, peace, happiness, to live in your full potential, your full alignment. And just the best way to start healing and moving forward to do that is to connect with your own inner divinity, to know you have that power within you, to know there is a source of safety and love that you can connect with at all times. And you can bring that to yourself, and that can start to heal those mother wounds.
This is going to be juicy. I know it's going to be juicy.
How long have we got?
I know, right? I know we need a few hours, I
Yeah.
think, multiple episodes.
Yeah.
So what's kind of coming in is, as you're working with clients, um, is it your experience that they recognize that they have quite a challenging relationship with their mother, or maybe are they always willing to recognize? How does that appear to you?
I I find by the time they get to me,
Mm.
yes. But most of my clients have been to numerous therapists or tried tried all sorts of different techniques to feel calmer. Usually the first thing that's come forward for them is anxiety. They've been struggling with anxiety. They realize they're people pleasers, that they struggle to accept help. Um, they have very low self-worth. So it tends that it's those issues that they've gone to other therapists, and they've slowly come to realize that it's all linked to their relationship with their mum. So usually by the time they've come to me, they are aware of it.
Mhm.
However, I also do see it all over the place, and quite often people I'll talk to, I'm like, well, what's your relationship like with your mum? And that's when things will start to come clear. But I also think there's a lot of universe stepping in and helping here. I seem to naturally draw people to me who have had a difficult relationship with their mum. So it's really funny. I can start talking to somebody in a restaurant or a friend's friend, and suddenly, we're clicking, we're getting on really well. And I'm like, what's your relationship like with your mum? And we'll just have that immediate connection. So I just draw people like that to me, which I thank the universe for, because it means I can, even if they don't come and work with me, they know that they're not alone. And that's the most important thing, is to know that it's not your fault and you're not alone. That
Wow.
actually this is a way more common issue. It's just something that there's so much stigma around. lots of people don't talk about it.
Mm. And I can imagine that because maybe on some level, do clients feel that maybe they're being disloyal to their mom by exploring these issues? How do you address that?
There is, well, first and foremost, always the sentence, you when a mother gives birth, when
Mm.
a mother chooses to have a child or adopt a child, they commit to the child, not the other way around. So if your mother has fed you and made sure you're clothed, that's just basic humanity. You do not owe her anything for that. You know, I don't expect my dog to come to me and owe me everything because I basically feed and take him for a walk. That's the most basic, you know. And I chose to have him in my family. I chose to bring him into my human environment. I'm extremely grateful to have that dog. And I'm not comparing children with dogs, but it's that sense of responsibility. When you have a child, when you choose to have a child, even if it's been very difficult circumstances, you're still making that choice. You are committing to the child,
Mm.
not the other way around.
Mhm.
Any parent who really loves and honors their child, they give them roots and then they give them wings. But there's far too many relationships out there where there aren't any roots, there's only chains. And
Wow.
those chains can cause deep, deep wounds in so many ways, in so many elements of a child and then the adult's life. And unless you face those wounds, you can pass them on. And that's where it's important to break that cycle. And I see amazing people doing amazing things to break those cycles. And I just honor them because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to do, but it's really important.
Oh, something you've said there is so it's just like it's really visual to me. There are no roots, there are only chains. There are no roots
Mm.
chains. And I think maybe people who have experienced this will recognize that. So you said by the time, when they start seeking therapy in whatever setting, they're experiencing anxiety, people pleasing, low self-worth issues. Are there any other ways that these toxic relationships manifest in adult lives? Anything else that might?
Also, I mean, I could talk about it all day, to be honest. It comes out a lot in the body
Mm.
because we hold on and we often have to take on a parenting role with our parents, and that's called parentification. So you can become a controller where you don't ask for help, you try and stay in control of your emotions, and that means you store them up and they get in your body, and you can end up with autoimmune issues, you can end up with body image issues, even eating disorders can be linked at times. And there's numerous mental health and physical health issues that can show up. It can also show up in your relationships if you don't really love and honor yourself. If you think your worth comes from serving others, from fixing others, which can I often see come up with mother wounds, that can then lead to you attracting relationships in all areas of life, friendship, partnerships, colleagues at work. You will attract to those people who want you to be their crutch. And that can be a real problem, especially if you hold an identity that I'm the carer, I'm the giver, I'm the fixer, and that's the only way you can be a good person. That actually, one of the key things I work on with my clients is there is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to be, and nothing you need to have worth. You just do.
Mm.
And it's letting go of some of these identities of being the carer, the fixer. I mean, it's beautiful that you want to bring that energy to the world, but you can't bring that energy to the world until you've really healed those wounds, because you will do it to your own detriment, which isn't serving anyone.
Wow. Wow. And I can sort of start to see, people who are um, in the healing specialties, they're healers, they're coaches, they're therapists, and they have a natural affinity for wanting to help others to heal and things like that. And as they heal this, aspect of themselves, do they ever get frightened that they're going to lose that thing that kind of connects them to the work?
Yeah. I see this is where we have to be aware of ego coming up. And
Mm-hmm.
it's something I've been working on myself, because I've as I heal, this is coming up. And is there a bit of ego? Is there a bit, and when I talk about ego, I don't mean egotistical, I mean fear, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. So I had a lot of wounds showing up of needing to be the fixer, needing to be the one that always helped other people, also needing to be the better therapist, the better friend, the better, it was just that word kind of came up, which is a lot of pressure. It's not good for anyone, but it's also being aware of that's a label you're holding on to, that it's time to let go. I don't need to be the best therapist. I just need to be me. I don't need to be serving. And I love that phrase of service, not servitude.
Mm-hmm.
Just perfect. It was gifted to me the other day. It's just a perfect phrase. It was a friend said it to me the other day, and I was like, right, I'm taking that one because it's so right. It is about service, and service to the universe, and service to love, and supporting each other, but it's not servitude. It can't be to a detriment of you, because that is not serving anyone. That is not serving the world. So it's getting round and really focusing, realizing that the most important thing to do is really heal yourself, heal that connection, and love yourself without condition. Know that you don't need to be serving and helping other people, knowing you don't need to be the best at what you do to have worth. That actually you bring so much more to the world. When you raise your vibration, you raise your consciousness, you get aware of your ego, you get aware of all those things. You don't get rid of them, you don't push them away, you embrace it. It's all part of who you are. You embrace all parts of yourself and love them unconditionally. And that's when your raised vibration benefits the world. And I would say a really important part of that is learning to connect with and love your inner child. And that's a point that I find is incredibly powerful to do, but the part that lots of women scarper and run. It scares them to death. And it's one, they think their inner child's going to be annoyed with them in some way or other, which they may be, or that they're going to have to deep dive into childhood experiences. But what I would say is your inner child is a beautiful energy within you that is curious, playful, innocent, and so beautiful and so deserving of love, of nourishment, protection, to know that they matter, to know they're heard, to have their emotions validated, so they're really seen and heard. And that's what you, more than anything else, you can't do this externally. This has to come from you. You can bring that safety and love to your inner child. And when you do, it changes everything.
Mm, it's true.
Yeah, it's
It's true.
powerful, powerful stuff.
Really true. Really true. I love that. And the inner child work is tricky. It is difficult because that part has been not dormant, but kind of almost closeted for so long.
Usually it's been buried at some point. If you've had to grow up fast, if you've been put in that role of parent, I know at 12 years old, when I was stood in my mum's bedroom watching her hit herself around the head, screaming, shouting, I buried my inner child right there, then in that moment. I couldn't be a child anymore. I
Mhm,
needed to look after her. And
mhm.
I buried her so deep that when we regressed in hypnotherapy, I couldn't find her at first.
Yeah.
I was just like saying to my therapist, I can't see her. I can't remember what she wore. I can't remember what her hair was like. I can't find her. And it wasn't until some big emotional event happened that triggered huge anxiety in me. We did a session and I immediately went to that memory. And
Mm,
that's when I was able to unbury her and bring her out. And she is so beautiful. And this is what I want to really get clear. Inner child work is hard and it's emotional, but my God, it is so beautiful. Because when you get that loving connection with your inner child, it's so beautiful. When I connect with my inner child at any age now, she comes running to me. She's jumping on my back. She wants to play. She feels safe. She feels happy. That is just too beautiful.
That makes me feel emotional thinking about. Oh, wow. Um, so, people who will be listening to this might say to themselves, I recognize this in me. I recognize those characteristics, those kind of ways of being. What are some sort of strategies or tools that we can discuss today that may help them either connect to their inner child or to do some type of healing for themselves
Mhm.
that might be sort of a quick way to kind of access that.
So one beautiful way was it actually was shared by Shaman Jarek in his book Spirit Trek, which I absolutely love. And that is just every morning when you first wake up, you put your hand on your heart, you just visualize your inner child there and tell her what you love about her.
Mm.
And if you can't do love yet, appreciate and really imagine that little girl, not who you are now, not what happened to her. One client I had who really struggled with this, the key moment came, which is why I work in my hypnotherapy. I call it serene spiritual because I bring in your spirit guides, your loved ones, and angels to work with you on this. Is I got her to look at her inner child through the eyes of her grandmother, a person who was a person of safety in her life. So I asked her to look at the essence of that child through the eyes of her grandmother. And then she was able to see this beautiful, curious, playful child who was so worthy of love and safety. So when you're putting your hand on your heart on the morning, that's what I want you to see, is this childlike essence within you, not what happened to you as a child. That's not what we're doing. We're connecting with that essence within you. And it's really beautiful. And if you're struggling to do it, ask for that support from your angels and guides to do it. Because one of the key things in the way I work with people is to first help you find stillness. And for most people, I would say at the beginning, I'm not talking about meditation, I'm talking about play. Doing something that serves no purpose other than it nourishes you. It might be painting, it might be dancing, it might be singing, it might be gardening, whatever it is that allows your mind to quieten down and reconnect with you, not who your mother told you what you are. You're the real inner divinity within you. Just quietens that egoic mind down and lets you just get some peace and quiet with yourself. And that's when guides can start connecting with us a lot more clearly, and it gets beautiful. And it's their love, the unconditional love that your guides have for you is so pure, so raw, so undiluted. It unconditional, unending, that can guide you to loving yourself. Because a lot of the women I work with, it's a real struggle for them at the start. But your guides, your loved ones, your angels, they can guide you to that. So you can have faith in their love for you first and then get to there. So not putting that pressure on yourself to be loving yourself, not putting pressure on yourself to be forgiving either. And I really want to make that clear. Don't focus on forgiving. You're asking too much of yourself and it can be too hard. Focus on acceptance.
Mm.
Accept who your mother is. Accept that you can't change her, accept it's not your responsibility to change her, and accept that you have the power to heal your wounds. The wounds she caused you are not your fault, but they are your responsibility to heal. So working on that acceptance is what will free you. Forgiveness may come in time and that's fine, but don't put the pressure on it. It doesn't mean you're less of a person if you can't forgive. That's okay. Just accept. And that's what will give you the freedom.
Wow. Stillness, play.
Play is important. Get silly. I love silly.
Important. And also stillness is important. And I don't know if this is your experience as well, but a
Mhm.
lot of us, struggle with stillness, really struggle with play, really struggle with allowing ourselves to be in that space. Um, what are some ways that you help your clients with stillness, whether it's connecting to, you know, um, that kind of inner child part of them, or just getting still. Sometimes I find that my clients really struggle with that.
Yeah, it really depends. This is again, be very wary. Your emotions are talking to you, they're communicating with you. I don't believe in negative emotions. There's uncomfortable ones, but they're never negative. They're all communicating something. Like I struggled with anxiety from being 8 years old. My anxiety was telling me something. And it wasn't till I was 37 that I really heard it. Like, okay, I see what you're telling me. But it's about giving yourself that time and space to let those emotions guide you. But if your emotions are very low, like Abraham Hicks talks about vibrations on different levels, right? And the lowest level is despair, the highest is pure joy. And you'll kind of know where you are on that scale by what music you're able to listen to. Music's a really good indicator of that. If you just want to listen to Leonard Cohen or Radiohead, you're probably quite low down. If you're quite happy listening to ABBA, yeah, you push that with me on most days. But if you can handle that happy party, you're going to be pretty high. But if you want to throw it out the window, yeah, don't go there. So if you just have an idea of where you are on that scale, then you can have an idea of what kind of play can you bring in.
Mm,
Because if you're really low down, the idea of going swinging in the playground, going for a skip around that's not going to happen.
yeah.
Don't put that pressure on yourself. It may be that you just need to sit with a really comfortable book that you've read many times that just brings you comfort. It may be that you just need to watch an old movie that, again, is a comfort blanket and just allows you to calm down.
Mm,
I've had phone calls from clients in a very anxious state, and it's just, don't be trying to fix anything right now. You can't see clearly. All those dark thought clouds are all over you. They're not going to clear if you keep trying to fix them, because you're just going to make them bigger. Instead, I want you to just do something that settles your nervous system, something that helps you to feel better. For some people, it's just going for a walk.
mhm,
But even if you're in deep despair, even getting out of the house may be too difficult. So that it's okay to then put your favorite movie on and sit with a duvet. As long as you don't stay there, you've got to push yourself to the next bit. It may be that you need to get angry,
mm,
because anger can be positive. It can motivate you. It may be that you need to, like, why did she treat me this way? I didn't deserve this. Get angry, write it down, paint it, draw it, journal on it, whatever that is. See where you are on the scale, and it's just reaching out for that next best step. So if you're in despair, we're just reaching out for just calming or reaching to anger, which is okay. If you're feeling very angry, okay, we need to reach out to what's going to level you a little bit. And the best way for that is nature, or every time. Hands down, get by the sea, get in the woods, lay on the grass, do some gardening, whatever feels good to you. But it's always being aware of where am I vibrationally as to what is realistic for me to be able to do. If I'm a kind of mid-level, the next best thing for me to do is I put music on really loud and I sing at the top of my voice. And
mhm.
that always gets me to the next step. But you've got to find what it is for you. There's no one recipe that fits all.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So, if you were to, I mean, you've shared so much wisdom and insight, really powerful insight today. If you had to leave our viewers, our audience, with one or two of, the most important things that they can take away from this time together, what would that be?
I would love to share with you my favorite, it's not visualization, it's a metaphor.
Mm,
And that's always aim to be the lighthouse.
mm,
And what I mean by that is make sure that you have firm foundations. You know who you are, not who you've been told you are, who you truly are as a divine being, as a human being. Then make sure you have firm boundaries, and the best boundary comes from loving yourself. But in the meantime, be aware of your emotional boundaries, your physical boundaries, and your spiritual. Make sure you're honoring your energy and taking care of it. And then allow your light to shine. So that is honoring that energy. If you're giving too much of it away, your light will dim, and that is not going to serve. You're the lighthouse. You've got to shine bright because that's what guides other people home. But what you mustn't do is think that you need to climb into everybody else's boats and start steering them home. There's several reasons for that. One is that will cause your light to dim, and then that's not serving. But two, you may not know where their boat needs to go. They are here doing their own journey, their own healing. We cannot steer other people's boats. You might think you know. This is the problem. We can get this identity of being the fixer and think we know what's best for other people. No, you don't. Step back. Let them steer their own boats. That empowers them to find their own way. But it also means that you have the energy then to shine as bright as you can. And that light will guide other people to find their own way home. So always be the lighthouse.
Oh, I love that so much.
Mm.
Love that so much. Always be the lighthouse. And it is really important to allow people to steer their own boats because they're on their own journey. If we're steering their boats, we're robbing them of their
Yeah.
own experience, their own learning and development. It's so
Mm.
important. And we don't know where their boat is going, right?
No,
And that means we're not actually steering our boat if we're steering their boat. So,
exactly. Yeah. Quite
um,
often it can be an avoidance tactic. I'm not going to heal my stuff. I'm going to heal everybody else's. Well, no, that's not going to work.
the wounded healer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
So Geraldine, if people want to know more, if they want to explore this work more with you, how would they find you?
I'm really easy to find. Luckily, with a name like Geraldine Crane, I'm quite easy to find. So you can Google me and I'm there. You can even put me in Spotify and I'll pop up on lots of other podcasts because I'm trying to reach as many women to let them know that they're not alone. But my website is simply geraldinecrane.com. You can email me at hello@geraldinecrane.com and I'm happy to answer any queries. And I'm also on Linktree. All my links are on there. And again, it's just Geraldine Crane. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. All those, again, just Geraldine Crane. Instagram, I'm Geraldine Crane _Sabine. So I'm really easy to find.
Oh, love that, and you're everywhere because this mission is really important. I am so grateful to you today. Thank you so much for being here with us. Really, really appreciate you, and thank you so much for the message.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.